the letting go, as I'm keep on looking at that fall prevention exercise, or specifically, it, it's it's hard to label it properly so people don't panic, but it's how to fall, and it all relates to the Taichi. So the idea of crumpling, yeah, crumpling straight down. So to be able to crumple straight down, that first exercise is just dropping. Right? So it's the same thing I'm talking about. Right? You take that breath, you have to breathe, let it out, and let go, so that when you drop, right, it's straight down. And then you add with with the feet lifting the heels up, so the heels are up, and so you get that physical thud, and everything lets go. And you want to feel all the joints, right? You feel the shoulders, the hips, just dropping down and not bouncing back up. They can vibrate a little bit, but you want that vibration to go out into the ground. And so, as part of letting go is the letting go of the need to catch yourself. Okay? And I say that because that need to catch yourself, that's the fight or flight, right? That's what's going to cause yourself to splay and brace and stiffen up. And then when we hit the impact, right, we'll just break everything. And instead of being able to absorb and release the energy, let it run through our body, right, we'll hold it in, and that'll cause that great shock. So the first step is just that learning to let go, right? Everything drops down. And when you let go, don't jump up right away. Remember, this is part of a process, an exercise process to get there. So, finish the move and relax, because this step is very important. If you get up right away, you don't study, do you have more tension that you could release? So, take your time, see if you can relax some more, and you'll feel your body sink. We cannot be 100% relaxed, in that we cannot let go 100%. If we let go 100%, then we're on the ground, right? We're still holding that minimum energy to hold our form from here. But we don't want any extra energy that gets in the way. So practice flat feet, and practice with the heels up, so you feel that thud. And initially I thought, heels up and dropping, so that you have a more concrete experience. But in reality, if we're falling, right, we're stepping, so the heel is up as we fall. So you learn that, right, you're already building in that recognition. And all of this is that feeling, learning that feeling. Ultimately, if a trip or fall occurs, right, to calm ourselves down, to remove anxiety, to train our body to react in a certain way. Right? So the first part, just right? And right? So then the second part is learning to do it while we're stepping. Okay? And when we're stepping, we want to, during the training part, we want to learn how to step forward so our feet don't cross over, right? So this stick represents the center line, right? And I don't want the foot to come here, because if the foot comes here, right, then I'm in this narrow stance. Even though you think, it's not narrow, I've stepped up. But side to side, or this way, I'm narrow. And when you're standing like this, right, you can feel that you have to be, it's perfectly balanced. You don't have that nice wide base over here. And that applies to even when you're stepping up. If your foot comes here, you lose that balance, right? Side to side, this is very unstable. So you could have a training tool. It could just be a tape on on the floor, could be lines on the floor, and just learning how to step straight up. How to step straight up. So if I had a line, right, if the stick was here, I could practice stepping straight up here. And it's going to feel wide. It's going to feel like, wow, I'm stepping really wide. But in reality, you're not. So learning how to step straight up, right, and then dropping. And we want to do left foot and right foot. So you could just alternate every foot. Or you could do 5 or 10 one side, 5 or 10 on the other. I kind of like, for the purpose of the fall prevention learning, I like alternating. So you automatically get used to either side. Right? You don't get stuck on one side, only right side, or only left side. Because you can't guarantee that it's always your left foot gets stuck. It might be more of the time left or more of the time right, but you can't guarantee that. Okay? Dog runs in front of you, people walking the dog, constantly getting tripped. Okay? So again, in the form of practicing a little bit upright, right? We're not leaning yet, we're just learning to step. And dropping the body down, and you notice my upper body just drops, yeah? Just relax. And as I'm doing it continuously, right, there's a walk, right? There's a flow of a walk back and forth. Right? So I'm actually building in this flow of the walk. And then going back to what I said, as you're learning, right? Take a time to pause. Could I have relaxed a little bit more? Right? You listen to that. So don't bounce up too quickly as you're practicing. Make sure you finish the move and let go. So I can always drop a little bit more. Right? And then as you get to that point where you're starting to, hey, I'm getting it, right? That one move, I'm letting go just about it as much as I can. Right? Then I can start transitioning to the next repetition. The next repetition. Okay? And then I can make faster and faster. But then I have to slow it down. Right? Oh, I forgot, I have to drop. So you have to self-correct for there. Right? So always take your time. And then the transition is from a small step, right, where the step gets larger and larger. Okay? So the next step is, with a little bit longer step, you have to build in the follow step. Okay? So in our standing, the Sun style, one of the reasons it was chosen was specifically for the follow step. And that's a fall prevention step. So learn to take a little bit larger step and follow step. And then notice I have to pick up my leg, right? Follow step. So you learn to pick up the knee. Follow step. Okay? Follow step. Okay? So with that, there's a drop here and a drop here. Okay? So that follow step is a shuffle step. So right now I'm just doing it in place, but you could do successive steps, right? Right? Stand up, stand up, all with that little follow step. Now we don't know what the ground's going to look like. Right? You have, even at home, right? There could be an object on the floor. It could be a soft spot. So if you don't pick up your foot, you're going to hit and catch everything. But if you pick up your foot, and you can learn to step over as you need to. And because you're picking up the foot, it's forcing you to balance on one leg. Right? So if you wanted to, you could test yourself. Right? Can I hold myself? Or like, oh, am I going to fall? Right? And if you take it to the point where can you freeze, right? I'm unstable here. This goes back to our other lesson about letting the hip fold, letting this pelvic fold. So if I step forward and I don't turn, and I'm trying to support everything here, right? This leg is doing a lot of work, but if I let it turn a little bit, I'm more relaxed, right? So, right? And I let this turn, and I'm more relaxed. Then I can stand on one leg. But if I don't let it turn, right? If I lock it forward, I'm really fighting to hold my body there instead of being able to relax. Right? So going back to we have to let go. The fall prevention is about letting go and relaxing. So there's all these small in-between steps that we can keep on adding and adding, right? Sinking, letting this turn while we have the follow step. Okay? Just in case, for whatever reason, we cannot put the foot all the way down, right? We have to be able to support on one leg. Letting it turn will allow us to do that. Right? So just to review first step, right? Just practicing straight down and then with the heel. And then the next step is adding the step, both feet, and making the step longer, and then adding the follow step. Because this follow step is very important. Right? We don't want to get stuck out here where we're trying to brace here. Let this step come with us. Again, all the time upper body is relaxed. So feeling the upper body drop, everything letting go, taking your time to stop, study the movement. Can I relax even more? And then start up again. Okay. So from upright to step, and the third major part is adding the lean. And the importance of the lean is learning to feel, oh, I'm falling. Right? Why is that important? We have to get used to that feeling I'm falling so that we don't have the need to catch ourselves and brace. Okay? So we're trying to extinguish that anxiety, right, from it. So the lean and step. And when I lean and step, it's going to become a bigger step. So we have to have the follow step. Right? So small lean first, just leaning and stepping. Just a small lean and stepping. Right? And both feet lean and step. Right? Just a small lean and step. Okay. Okay. Right over here, I'm going to stop and talk about the difference, right, with the Taichi, how the Taichi is prevention. So the Taichi is relearning how not to lean, right, to keep our weight on the back, find the ground first, right, and then shift our body with both feet on the ground. So ideally, that's how we want to happen. But we also have to recognize that if we're falling, what does that feel like? And don't panic, and recovery, right? So this is the recovery from there. And that's why we practice leaning and stepping. Because that lean is going to initiate that shock in your body, that fight or flight, that need to save yourself, need to catch yourself. And we want to extinguish that anxiety. So there's a third major part, right? Lean and step. Okay? And we're just building on it. Right? And it has to have that follow step. So short lean and step. Okay? Right? And then eventually building up to waiting a little longer. Right? And listening to what does that feel like, right? And eventually it ends with that really long, that last minute I have to step. Right? And let me stop and talk about the safety, right? Make sure area is safe and clear and build up slowly. And if you need to have something to catch yourself, right? Have something to catch yourself. If you're using a cane or a walker, do this with the cane or walker. Okay? We're trying to prepare the body as best as we can. for a situation that we can recognize. And if we're using devices, use the devices, learn how to use them. Okay? So if I needed something on the side railing, right, and I can practice grabbing the railing, right, using it as support. So that last part where we're building up slowly until, oh, have to. And you notice the follow step, right? So the back leg has to release and practice left and right. Learn where's that point where like, oh, I don't have a choice. I better step, right? Because if I don't step, then I'm heading towards the injury side. Right? We want to mitigate and want to prevent that. So ideally, right, as soon as you feel yourself out of balance, right, you just take a step and correct yourself. But you never know when we're rushing. We all have those moments. We're rushing. We're crazy. We got to get there. We know we shouldn't. And then, we might be up in the air, but it's right? As soon as it happens, follow step, right? Just drop and follow step. And hopefully we cover. So ideal version, of course, is total prevention. It never happens. Next best is as soon as you feel yourself out of balance, you catch yourself. But in those situations where something dramatic, just because we weren't as aware and we put ourselves in the situation, hopefully we can still catch ourselves through the training. So that last minute, right, I have to step. And train that. You have to have that follow step, right, and relaxing. And then relaxing. Okay? And if there's a fourth step after that training, it's the recovery. Right? So coming out and being able to recover. So you keep on walking. So you know how to stop and catch yourself if you have to, and then you can continue walking. Or if it's possible, you can just continue walking, right, and come back upright. What?
The sink is leaking in the bathroom.
Okay, I'll catch it a little later. I'll get it a little later. Finish class. Oh, no, yeah. Right. So it's that walking. And again, we have to go all the way back to short steps, small leans, until it gets bigger and bigger. And safety is number one, right? Just take it small steps at a time. So this is kind of where I am in this teaching how to fall properly. And I talk about crumpling. The crumpling effect is still there. And there's that crumpling of going all the way down. That's a whole separate lesson, I realize, from here. But just learning how to walk and recover from there. And then the enhancement to that is you have to practice carrying something, yeah? Because you're carrying groceries, you're carrying purse, and ultimately you might be carrying a person, right? Carrying baby. And what do? So to get there is still letting go. It's still, is what I'm carrying more important than my life, my health, right? Or can I let it go? So carrying something, carrying a pillow that maybe has a little bit of weight, and just learning how to let go, right? Not panicking every time. And building up to the point where you can distinguish, right, the value of what you're carrying. Can I let it go? Do I need to hang on to it? And if I need to hang on to it, right, am I going to sacrifice myself for the object, or have I trained enough that I can save the object and myself, right? And it's the same thing, right? You start crumpling. When you crumple, the hands come in and you're relaxed, and then you can save that. Some people talk about, they know they're going down, so they turn a little bit, right? And yeah, those are techniques that I'm not going to get into. But the main thing is being able to relax. So if I carry a cushion and I relax, I'm actually cradling it. So what's the object? When we talk about it, what's that object that you have to save? Right? Is it the antique Ming vase? Like, oh my God, I just spent my life savings, right? But if you get injured, and this is the statistics, right? The fall prevention, the issue of fall prevention is so important because if the fall leads to broken hips and if it stops your mobility, right? You can't exercise, you can't move, you can't go out see your friends, you can't socialize. That's what leads to early death, or that's what leads to the death of the senior. Not the fall itself, but all the indirect consequences that happen. Okay? So you have to practice swaying that, right? Whatever you're carrying, what am I carrying? I'm carrying my purse, I can let my purse go. I'm carrying tonight's groceries, I can let it go. I'm carrying that $100 parrotfish, I still gotta let it go, right? It's not worth your health to recover. And then valuable objects, right, that have money value. But really the most valuable thing that we cannot let go, is life. So as seniors, we're carrying the baby. What are we going to do? So we have to practice like, we can still cradle and we can still carry the baby, carry the child and protect them and protect us, and drop. And by relaxing, we pull them into us. We get a little bit more upright. So that's kind of the ultimate, not just yourself, but you carrying another life. So if it's a big stumble, can you recover and do that? So practice, right? So practice with objects, pillow first, bag, and then stuffed animals, right? Stuffed animal is your baby. And if you drop the stuffed animal and you practice, it's practice. But in your mind, you realize, right, you're also practicing and running through the scenario of that value, right? What am I going to do if I drop this? What's the consequence from there? Okay. And if you drop stuffed animal on your foot, it's safe, right? So everything is safety. Think about what you're doing, how to keep it safe. Okay? So in review, drop straight down, then with the heel, learning to let go, take your time, finish the movement. Right? Recognize that you're not going to let go 100%. You need a little bit of energy to hold our form, right? And with the step and the follow step, we have to develop that follow step. So small and then larger, and learning to pick up the leg. So even on the trip, learning how to pick up the leg, right? Right? Left foot, right foot, right? And then we add the lean, right? Small lean, follow step. The follow step has to be in there already. So if you don't have the follow step, go back into the follow step and then work up to a medium until that last minute you have to go. Yeah, that last minute you have to go, that goes back to the right? Yeah. And watch if you're tensing and gripping the floor and trying to brace, don't go beyond that part of your training, right? Don't lean anymore, don't take a bigger step. You have to extinguish the brace. And you can feel it. You can practice, right? If you come up and just bang down, right, and tense, your body just vibrates because you're not letting go of that energy, right? And that's what's going to cause the break. If you fall, you hit the ground, you're already full of this energy. You're going to add more energy, right? Instead of just ideally when you drop, right, your body doesn't vibrate. The ground below you vibrates because that energy is going into the ground and vibrating around you, and your body just stops. That means all that energy rolled out of your body. And that's really what we want. You don't want to hold on to that energy from that falling. You see? And so finally, that, and then the recovery, right? Learning how to walk out of it. So that little trip, picking up, whoops, and coming out. And just some physical theory things, right? If you're banging your foot on the ground, you're generating energy. That rebound is you're throwing energy into your body, right? Going back to, we want to let go of that energy. If you pick up your foot, right, and just kind of like that little skipping and releasing, that picking up, whoop, and then slowly, right, recovering, that helps to let that energy go. But if you're like, oh, and you keep on running, you're just throwing energy back into your body and you can't stop. Right? And that's a whole, to me, that's a whole little another section of practice where you're trying to simulate, you trip and you have momentum, right? You have so much momentum. What are you going to do? Like if you're jogging and running, and then you trip, right? You have that momentum already. You have that energy already in your body. You already, right? Your goal is already propelling your body forward. So if you trip, you have to let that go, right? And allow for recovery, and then you can start again. Right? So if I'm jogging, right, and then I trip, I'm already accelerating on top of what I have, right? Right? I just have to be willing to stop, maybe jog in place, right? A little bit, reset, and then go. So those are, it's starting to really come together, these small little things. What would be in this lesson, what would be in the extension lesson, and what to teach separately. So it's if I'm teaching crumpling, I'm going to put a nice cushion on the floor to learn how to drop down onto the cushion. But that I have to think, because it's not something that's easy to teach online, because you're dropping down. And you need the safety, because if you miss and you roll, you're by yourself. But just as a demo, right, the drop is just, it is learning how to be comfortable dropping straight down. So with a thick cushion, I can safely practice that. And I would have two cushions and, right, nice clear area from there. And you can see that that really is a whole nother lesson, and learning how to do it safely. In person for something like that is the best, because you can stand there and having a partner to spot you. Right? Like if Bond come. So what I'm showing them is that this eventual practice of dropping down on one knee. Okay? So if Bond comes on the side, right, I can stand next to her. Right? You stand really close to it, right? And then you're gonna just step one foot back, yeah, and then drop on your knee. Yeah, see? So I can spot her, right? You can see when you're learning, there's you can see she's trying to catch herself, right?
Yep.
So you're gonna have people coming down and trying to catch themselves and rolling and falling. So it's not something that I'm ready to say, oh, just do it on your own. Let's if I spot her, I just gently spot her. Yeah, and step right up to the cushion. Yeah, there. See?
What I do?
And you can see two sides, right? So in this case, both knees came down. Okay? So I have to have enough. The cushion is small, so if she goes in between the cushion, not as safe as having a large cushion. So you really got to think about that, right? I could put a blanket over it, but you really have to create a safe space. If she learns how to completely let go, right, then she'll drop straight down, just like this. But if you're coming down and you're bracing already, when you brace, you can see the lean come out, right? So just somebody gently. And even as a spotter, right, I can't panic, because that's going to add that energy. I have to just be comfortable and just guide. Right? If she's leaning, right, I can guide and I can guide. So yeah, not something for prime time to do on your own yet, but you can see the concept. kind of coming straight down. And she landed on 2 knees. And what I'm trying to do is actually sit on my heel so that knee never comes down from there. But if she crumples straight down, right, then she can brace with her hands, right, from a low position. Okay, thank you. And that's more the demonstration why we're not going to teach that and encourage you to do it on your own, right? Because there's so many considerations there. But if you want to practice it slowly, right, I can use a stick or something, right? And I want to keep it close to me, right, where it's just a guide, right? I don't want to be grabbing, and I don't want strength on this, right? If it's a railing, I don't want strength. I want to just set guide so I can just come straight down, and it just helps to keep me from falling backwards or forwards to the side, yeah. Just from there. But the technique it's the same thing with the follow step. It's a heel to toe. There's going to be a little bit overlap. I don't want it here where it's even. So when I drop down, I'm stepping back, heel to toe, and I let this knee actually come out. And I'm sitting on here, and I have to just relax, and my hands can just rest here, from here. Yeah? And my upper body, I don't need to be upright like this, I just relax. Right? So if I have the cushions, it's safe. The back over here, I need to have enough room in case I roll back. Right? I don't want to hit my head against something. So you really have to measure the whole area, right, for you to be able to do it on your own. But that's the idea, just crumple. That's the idea of crumpling straight down. Right? And if I fall, right, it's less energy from here to here. Right? I've let go of that a lot of energy. So if my knee touches, it's not as strong an impact. Right? And if I need my hands to brace, right, I can come down. It's not that wild fight or flight impact. Right? And then I can let myself down. If I need to go down, right, I can let myself down. If I need to wait, right, I can relax and just sit on the floor. And that's where the concept is leading to from there. Okay, any questions before we end up class, before we close up? Are there any questions about that?
Brief question, Randy.
Yeah.
You know, when you have the momentum, when you're leaning forward, do you just pitch back?
Oh, no.
Remember when you did this? And you said, oh, hey, this is about right. And then you have to straighten up. You cut off your back.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, if you're, so mechanically, right, we're trying to upright the body. So you have to throw it forward. But the way to do it is, if we're coming forward, is to relax, right, from here. So it all comes into this joint again. Right? Because if you're coming forward and you try to throw your body, right, that just makes it worse, right? We're fighting. Yeah. So you're coming forward, it's still the same, relax, right? And once you can relax and center, right, then I can still take a few more steps, whatever needed, right? And come out. Because it really is about letting that energy roll out of your body. Because if you don't let that energy roll out of the body, then that transfer of energy, that momentum, you're trying to catch up with yourself. You're never going to catch up with yourself until you just kind of release it. Yeah. So if you do this, it just releases it. And if you put your mind right in this hip joint, and you pick up your knee, right? It just releases, right? The toes release. And it's an interesting experiment again with the E. If you think of your toes, right, and your foot while you're picking up, and you think of your knee while you're picking up, and you think of this fold, the bend, right, the pelvic joint, while you're picking up. Thinking of the fold and the bend, right, is centered, so that automatically helps you to center, right? Your center balance. You pick up your knee, right? Your knee is out here, and you can feel the physical muscle start to act more. And you can think of the knee, and you can think of this muscle here. You think of this muscle here. Oh, it's really a heavy movement, right? It's a physical external movement. But you think of the joint right in here. Okay? The joint is not a muscle, right? So you're not thinking about any of the muscles, so it can just let go. It can pick up real fast, and it can let go, and that energy can let go. But yeah, interesting. If you just pick up the leg, just kind of pick the knee up and snap it up. Put your mind here, right in the fold. Put your mind here in the big muscle. Put your mind on the knee. Put your mind on the foot. They all feel different, and you can feel that if you keep your mind in that fold, it all comes back to the core. That's the most stable. But yeah, that momentum, right up here, then I can upright. And same thing coming backwards, right? If I'm falling backwards, I'm trying to throw that leg to catch up with my momentum, and I'm trying to throw this forward. That's a real physical movement, yeah. But if I can get my body to fold naturally, then my body will come forward. So if I'm falling backwards, by sinking and relaxing, right, letting myself do this, then that will fall. So again, it's collapsing. So if I'm going backwards, collapse. Right? If I collapse, then the upper body will fall forward. Yeah. Do it slowly and relax. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. So does that make sense? That collapsing?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So backwards, right? The same thing again. I'm not telling. You gotta be careful. You gotta make sure clear area, and it's just that you gotta do it slowly. Or you gotta have somebody there to spot you. So be very careful, to practice it by yourself. And you have to be safe. Like, yeah, don't be lenient and say, oh, I'm going to force this. It's just, if you really want to practice it, it's just that gentle, right? You have to start off small and collapse, right? Lean back and collapse and build up to it. But I can't advocate, especially putting out the video, right? I can't advocate doing it by yourself without somebody to spot you, making sure you have a safe area, pillows and safety. Yeah, by yourself, you really have to check. And yeah, if you can, or have a railing, right? If you have a railing, and it's just learning that feeling, this, right? It could just be arch and collapse, right? Arch and collapse, right? Take a step, arch and collapse. Up to there, right? Just gently, without overextending. Yeah, that's not too bad. That's just a stretch, right? That's just a stretch and collapse. Right? Just stretching and collapse, but understanding how that works with fall prevention and how that habit might save you or minimize the injury from there. Okay. All right, let's close it up with another bellman. Okay, come forward. So calm your breathing down. Right? Start to breathe in from the top and sink. Right? And think about that, letting go. You might use the yawn, the ha, to breathe in and exhale. Got to release tension. Let the feet fall to the earth. We want the top of the head open and connected. We want underneath the root open and connected. We want the bottom of the feet open and connected. We want to let go of everything so we can flush all that energy from the Tao, from the universe, from our environment through our body. We want to teach our bodies how to self-heal, self-correct. And just supplying that energy and allowing the body to do what it needs to do. Okay? Remember, meditation, right, is about clearing your mind so you can think of one thing. You slowly open your eyes. Yeah. Bring your hands right in front of your chest. Just for a few breaths practice. Imagine you holding that soap bubble. And you think of the sun sending down its energy to the sun in your chest. And you look straight ahead. And feel the lower belly inflating and relaxing. And then from a soap bubble, imagine you holding a paper ball. So it's lighter, right? It's just there, it's just a spacer. And see if you can feel the difference. Imagining you holding a ball, a soap bubble, or something heavy compared to just holding a paper ball. And slowly open your eyes and slowly bring it down, let it go. Just listen to your body the whole way down. And take your time bringing your feet in. Bring the hands up, slowly breathing in, gathering one last time. You let everything go. Rub your hands together. Yeah, move your legs. Warm up your eyes. And do your scalp. Just the fingertips, not the fingernails. It's funny how when you start looking at the refinement, and it all boils down to relaxing, letting go. You have to let go to be able to relax. And you have to listen to this pelvic joint. And everything keeps coming back to those two things, and everything builds and expands upon those two things. Mechanically, the lower dantian is your energy center, so part of your mind is always on your energy center, so it can help to cultivate the chi in your lower dantian. But as you're moving, right, you have to think in that fold, and that's what helps you to stabilize mechanically. And same thing, you have to let go. You have to let go of that need to hold yourself and just let it turn. So that concept goes back and forth in there. And as you relax, as you learn to relax, you'll know you're changing, because you'll see that tension in other people. Right? You just see it like, oh, your shoulders, your chest. Oh, let go. You start to see all that tension. So the more you relax, you look at other people like, oh, you want to go and fix them. You want to shake them up a little, loosen them up, and say, oh, breathe in without all of this. Right? Here, do this. Right? You almost want to. You have that urge to force your knowledge on them. That's how you know you're changing and developing. And then you have to let that go. Right? It's okay. Right? Take care of yourself, and if they want to change and relax and they come to you for help, then you can pass that knowledge on to them, right? And sometimes you're just that example, and they come up to you and like, you look so relaxed, and how do you do that? And that's the opening. Oh, you just got to let go. I'm learning how to let go, right? You have to be careful on, oh, you do this, do this, do this, do this. And they're like, I don't know how to do that. Right? So sometimes it's the approaching the same knowledge, but more from the philosophical, emotional definition. Yeah, letting go. Yeah, because that opens up the door. Oh, I don't know how to let go. Right? Oh, it's so hard. Oh, how do you do that? You have to wait for that, right? How do you do that? Right? And just give one little thing. Ah. Oh, so that last reminder when we practice that letting go, right? That there's that slow letting go, practicing letting go. It's just that slow, take your time. That's on one end, and on the other end is that it's the fast letting go, right? So need to practice both to refine and get to that point where it becomes more natural. Yeah, so the slow releasing, studying everything, and the and then stopping and waiting, and by holding my feet up, I can feel I'm supporting my legs. I can relax a little bit more. Right? Oh, that's how I want to do it in the first movement. Okay. All right. Thank you. You have a nice afternoon. Yeah. Any questions before we?
No. See you next week.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Marian. Yeah. Okay.